You would have to be psycho. But then again, Meghan Markle is psycho, right? Nothing else would explain the fact that she is literally plotting to return to the United Kingdom, a country that she has decried as racist, a country where, as a result of her treatment of the late Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, she is despised. She will be booed. She's not at threat, by the way, in terms of her safety, but reputationally, absolutely. And why is she doing this? Why is she putting her husband through this? I'll tell you why. Because everything career-wise is over for her. It's collapsed. It's like these two, who actually really hate each other, by the way. You could see it in that interview last week. Are on their hands and knees, crawling like little rats back to the country that they have derided internationally. We don't want them, but they've got nothing else. There's no other plan. There's nothing they can do. All they've got is the United Kingdom. I'm angry about this, as you can tell. We will get full analysis from Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, imminently. But first, let me take you through this new reporting revealed by The Sun's royal editor, Matt Wilkinson, who wrote Meghan Markle set to return to Britain with Harry for the first time in 4 years this summer as the couple promote Invictus Games. The planned trip comes as the US-based couple are set to hear the result of their taxpayer-funded security review. And of course, when it came to the taxpayer-funded security review, it wasn't all as it seemed. This was Harry and Meghan trying to bounce the British government into giving them this security. Do you know, I saw one meme over the weekend. By the way, apologies, I don't know who created this. I would love to give you credit. Because look at that. Scheming women, then and now. Meghan Markle is morphing into Wallace Simpson by the day. More meat on these bones were delivered by Roya Nika. She's like a stenographer for the British royal family and also for Harry and Meghan, royal editor of the Sunday Times. It's worth me taking you through this because it shows you what Montecito really wants us to believe about this. While Harry is not relishing the prospect of giving evidence, this is in terms of his return for this ludicrous court case against the Daily Mail. I think it's next week now, isn't it? God, he's a stupid man. And she writes, while Harry is not relishing the prospect of giving evidence, sources close to him say he is feeling confident. He shouldn't be. Like, I've looked at the evidence. He maybe should be feeling confident because the judiciary in the United Kingdom hate the media, hate newspapers, but in terms of the evidence, he should not be feeling confident. One said, it's not a nice experience for anyone to find themselves in court, but he sees it as a necessary thing to do for a lot of reasons, a continuation of an ongoing mission, and he's feeling confident going into it. He just wants to get through it and move on. He hopes justice will prevail. Associated newspapers, that's the Daily Mail, and their legal team feeling bullish, and the gloves will come off in a courtroom showdown that may be uncomfortable viewing behind palace walls. If Harry were to lose, he would probably face a legal bill in the millions and face public criticism for taking the case to trial. I mean, there goes the late Queen Mother's inheritance. She would be disgusted. A friend of Harry's went on. And this is in regards to security now. The security case. We hope common sense prevails. Whether you like Harry or not, he's the son of the king, brother to the heir, and will one day be brother to the king. Those are things he can't change. And the risk just doesn't stop. On Meghan's return, there will be all kinds of considerations, like the children's school and other commitments, that if the security is sorted, then yes, of course, that would open up the door to come back more with his family and bring his family over more. He's been keen on that. His desire is to show his kids where he grew up and the UK. If security is sorted, he'll want to sit down and think about, what does that look like? How should we show up? We'd all hope for and love that to happen. Trust me, that's how no one's feeling. Those close to the Sussexes are now dismissing the idea, an idea that they propagated, by the way, for many years, when she thought she was never going to have to make money over here, that Meghan will never return to the UK. I think she would come back with him and the children, said a source. They love to do stuff as a family whenever they can, and when they do things as a couple philanthropically, they often do take the kids along privately. I can't see a reason why he'd come over with the kids without her. Preparation for the imminent trial has taken up much of the prince's thoughts in recent months. Last year, there were murmurings of a new commercial venture in the pipeline, billed as a social enterprise with a social conscience, but that idea is no further along. Like everything Harry does when it comes to business, it never actually emerges. In the meantime, Harry will continue to consider paid offers for speaking events. Freed from the restraints of being a working royal, he was recently paid to make the keynote speech at the Ontario Real Estate Association conference in Toronto. Yep, they're desperate, folks. The trial will force Harry to look back at difficult moments from his often troubled past, but friends say he is already looking past the courtroom to a time when he is finally free of litigation. No one suggested Harry should do this, by the way. Literally every single person, including Meghan Markle, tried to talk him out of it, so no sympathy should be had. It has been a busy few months preparing for the case, and he wants to see where the chips fall with the trial and his security, said one. There are a lot of things he's not looking forward to with the trial, but beyond that, he's really looking forward to the year ahead. He's got an exciting program coming up with all the stuff he loves doing, lots of work with his patronages. What, like sent to Bali? Like African parks? What are you talking about? Roy and Nika is really bad not picking up on this. The prince, who served in the armed forces for 10 years, will also return to Ukraine this year, a country he visited twice last year to support its military and veterans injured and affected by the war with Russia. So again, Harry feels like he can happily travel to a war zone without internationally provided security, but not the United Kingdom. All right then. Those who know him best say he is still happiest out on the road. Now, this line was very interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. Because out on the road, he's not with Meghan Markle. He's not with the children. So those close to him are even acknowledging in a puff piece to Roy and Nika, he's not happy in the Montecito mansion, which has become a prison to him that he desperately tries to escape. Very telling to me. But this is how the friends sort of tried to describe it. Oh, it's nothing to do with Meghan Markle. It's all to do with the fact that he hates sitting in front of a computer. He loves to travel. He loves nothing more than getting around on the ground, getting his hands dirty, meeting people. That's when he's most enjoying himself and at his best. It's going to be a fun year. Brittany, not for the people of the disunited kingdom who do not want this man back. But let me tell you what we really don't want, Brittany. Meghan Markle swanning over here and causing a whole load of trouble for Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales.
Yes, and this definitely seems like that's what's going to happen probably this summer, but we'll see how all the security stuff irons out. But the Invictus Games has sadly become basically just a big publicity stunt for Harry and Meghan. It is not about the veterans. It is not about the competition. Nobody watches, nobody engages with the competition itself. It's all about Harry and Meghan. And it's just unfathomable to me that like taxpayer dollars are extended on this event that doesn't generate any money or income or anything like that. But for Harry and Meghan, I mean, it's basically Invictus Games reflects Harry's ego. His ego is all wrapped up in the Invictus Games. That's why it has to get bigger and bigger and bigger every year, even though it doesn't really make sense economically. It's getting bigger every year to satisfy Harry's ego. And Meghan enjoys going along for the ride and getting some good shots. Although, according to Matt Wilkinson, she actually doesn't really do all that good a job at Invictus Games. He revealed this in an interview a couple months ago and has sort of resurfaced recently. And I found that very interesting that he said, even when it comes to the Invictus Games, she doesn't engage with the families and other people there very well at all. And she just wants to go home. She doesn't like royal engagements. She doesn't like royal duties. And this is why she's not working royal anymore. It's why she should stay home. But she doesn't have a lot of options. Hollywood is no longer knocking.
100%. Trust me, Brittany, no one connected to Invictus, certainly none of the competitors or the people who are on the board, want Meghan Markle involved in Invictus. She's a huge distraction. She causes no end of issues. And you remember last year, she had to be sent home early, and that's when she immediately went home to Montecito and posted. And I do not believe this is a coincidence, Brittany. I think it was an act of revenge. She posted for the first time Archie and Lily on her Instagram account making jam. And Harry was still over at Invictus. I mean, why would you do that, Brittany? Even if Harry was okay with that, which I don't believe he was based on his comments since, why would you do that at a time when he's trying to get all of the attention for the Invictus Games? So she is trouble when it comes to Invictus.
She is, but here's the interesting thing, Dan, and I actually disagree with you a little bit on Invictus not wanting her there. I think they're sort of stuck because they want Harry and Meghan there for the publicity, because they know at this point they have created a games where the only publicity you get from them is from Harry and Meghan attending. If you actually look through the Getty images, it's all of Harry and Meghan for the Invictus Games. If you just put Invictus Games in, pretty much when Harry and Meghan are there, that's all the pictures. And so at this point, Invictus Games cannot stand without Harry and Meghan. They have become a critical part of the games actually functioning, which is a disservice to the veterans and such a bad decision making by the board of the Invictus Games here, because Harry and Meghan are toxic and they basically have to put on a giant show to get people to come in. Like, it was the concert that got people to the Invictus Games last year. It wasn't the competitors, it wasn't the games themselves. And so these games have an identity crisis. They should really just be renamed the Harry and Meghan Games, because that's what they are. It's a publicity vehicle for the two of them. That's why they're there. That's why I think some aspects of the Invictus team want them there, because without them, they don't have anything. And that, again, is on Invictus for not establishing that this is about the veterans, not about Prince Harry's ego.
100%, because, Brittany, when you actually think about that briefing to Roy and Nika coming from the Sussexes, I believe it was very intellectually dishonest, like working with all of his patronages. Well, what are we talking about here? I mean, Centre Bali and African Parks are the two other major charities outside of Invictus. We know he has nothing to do with Centre Bali. And actually, serious questions need to be asked about what the hell is he doing to deal with the accusations of people trafficking and rape and all of the abuses involving African Parks. If he wants to be on the ground sorting this out, why the hell has he not been in Africa doing so? So just buying into the stuff. Oh, he loves being out and about. No, okay, we understand he doesn't want to be home at Montecito, but it's not for him to work with his charities, or he would have been far more personally involved with what's been going on in African Parks.
As tensions between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry continue to grow, insiders reveal what's really forcing Meghan back to Britain after years away. Is this about security, money, reputation, or a marriage under serious strain?
Interesting about that, Dan, as well, is that they also talk about how he's doing paid engagements now. And so the big question is he engaging in these patronages just out of the goodness of his heart? Or is there now a monetary amount attached to any patronage he goes and attends an event at? Is he getting paid now to go to the Well Child Awards? I mean, that's a big question, because at this point, everything has to be a paid engagement, because the Netflix deal is dead. They have a first look deal, but that doesn't guarantee them a lot of money. And at this point, I don't think Netflix is biting much. And then you also have Spotify deal is dead. We have a lot of other deals that have died, and the money is not flowing in for them. So basically everything they have to do now has to be paid, because otherwise they're not going to make any money. As it turns out, the two of them left in this big hubbubaloo and were very confident in their ability to generate money. But as it turns out, a royal title doesn't magically imbue you with talent, and neither one of them have much in the area they're trying to make money in, which is producing. So they have a couple of projects, let's say, potentially in the pipeline, but they might not be able to sell the Girl Scouts thing. They have two projects that are still like barely in development. And so there's just not a lot of hope here. So everything Harry has to do right now has to be money generating. So there is no longer a philanthropic aspect if you're grabbing bags of cash as you do it.
100%. 100%. But I do think there was some surprise honesty in the briefing, Brittany. Finally, an admittance of what I have been reporting for some time. And I really do think this is important to note, Brittany. He's happiest when he's not at home. He's happiest when he is on the road. Brittany, most times he is not on the road with his wife.
And not his kids either. I thought it was interesting as well that they said, oh, they like to travel and bring the kids, sidelines in their philanthropic efforts. I was like, we've had no reporting of that ever, pretty much, except for that one thing they did last year. But it is also very clear, as you said, that Harry is happiest when he's not at home. He's happiest on the road doing things. And that's generally not a good reflection on the status of somebody's marriage, is that they're happiest when they're not around their family. And why Harry is going back or trying to claw his way back into the UK is because he is not happy in this new life. Like, that is just abundantly clear. Nothing has worked. Everything has failed. This move back to the UK, basically, or this attempted move back to the UK, is an acknowledgement of failure of their relationship, a failure of their plans, a failure of basically every aspect of their life in many ways. And so the only way they can salvage something is maybe by reestablishing themselves as royals. But again, Harry pointing out through this puff piece that he's happiest when he's not with his wife and children is not a good sign. And honestly, Harry and Meghan, when they travel, they tend to travel seemingly just by themselves. So I think the nannies do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to being at home. And Harry and Meghan are sort of, even though they have a platform about parents, they're sort of, in my opinion, disengaged parents themselves.
100%. They have been completely reliant on the nannies since day one, which, as I first revealed at the time, Brittany, is why they went through 3 nannies in the first 6 weeks of Archie's life. And that reliance on nannies has never dissipated. But look, poor Prince William and Catherine, to a lesser extent, they know what's coming, Brittany. So they are now foreseeing that Harry will win the security battle, that he is going to be setting up a rival court. And they have made a fascinating new hire to prepare for this, to prepare for crisis, Brittany. That's what this was about. And it was a story revealed, and this is really interesting, by the Mail on Sunday's political editor, which shows you quite how seriously William is taking this. He's hired a crisis management described as bulletproof sunshine. They say as it's as the Andrew and Harry saga rumble on. So this is the reporting from Glenn Owen, the political editor of the Mail on Sunday. Prince William has hired a crisis management expert as the royal family continues to wrestle with the fallout from Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's association with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Lisa Ravenscroft, described as bulletproof sunshine by a former boss, has been recruited from the blue-chip communications firm Edelman, where she works arm in arm with big names facing into their toughest times. That description could apply to William as the Andrew saga rumbles on, while the monarchy also deals with dramas surrounding Prince Harry and the cancer treatments undertaken by both the King and the Princess of Wales. Ms. Ravenscroft, who runs the UK Crisis and Issues team, is understood to have been championed by Julian Payne, a former communications secretary to Charles and Camilla. Now, that's a red flag to me. He's a bad man. We'll come back to that. A source told the Mail on Sunday Julian Payne has stayed close to the King, so it is unlikely to be a coincidence that one of his most senior and respected members of staff has taken a key role in William's office after a period of turmoil, and when they are looking for closer alignment between Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace as minds turn to William's eventual succession. A Kensington Palace source said that communications experts for the royal family boasted a range of experience, and Ms. Ravenscroft would be operating in a non-crisis role. She declares on her CV that multinational brands have never had higher expectations nor more scrutiny when things go wrong, and boasts that she tells companies how to get past an issue as quickly as possible with minimum dents. It's often front-page stuff, from boycott campaigns to sexual allegations to serious safety issues, geopolitical and ethical risks. So, Brittany, there's actually a lot going on here, and you know I've reported quite a lot in recent weeks about this growing tension between William and Charles, between Buckingham and Kensington Palaces. Now, I don't buy the summation here that, oh, this is Julian Payne pulling the strings and Prince William listening to Julian Payne. Julian Payne was the communications secretary for King Charles, Brittany. He was got rid of because he was such a negative force. He was the guy who was constantly getting the king to compete with Prince William. Do you remember that? William would do something and then all of a sudden Charles, his own father, was attempting to steal the attention. So I don't buy that. What I think is going on here is that William is very serious about the current risks to the British royal family. Sure, a lot of them have been posed by Andrew. But going forward, Brittany, I think William is well aware that most of them are going to be coming from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and he is arming up. He is preparing for battle here. He is understanding that Harry wants to launch a rival royal court, and there is going to have to be a degree of a fight back against that, Brittany. And I'm all for that. So if this Lisa Ravenscroft woman can come in and start the fight back for William and the British royal family against Harry and his ludicrous rival court, I personally have no problem with it. But I just wanted to explain a bit of the background, Brittany, because I do think this story has been twisted a little bit.
Well, and Dan, I think that as well, this is long overdue for the British royal family. I feel like we've had, in terms of their PR, a lot of complacency. You know, this is how things have gone. Everything's going to be fine. We just let things ride.
Totally.
But as we've seen, that has not worked at all. Like, that is not working, because what happened before is that you could rely on the respect for Queen Elizabeth II to sort of negate against a lot of these negative headlines. But the longer since her passing, the more likely it is that these barbs are going to actually really sting. So you have to really begin to have, I would argue, almost an aggressive, you could say almost somewhat more American style for a period of time, so that you can address the Andrew situation and actually put it to bed rather than just waiting for it to go away. And you can actually address the Harry situation as well, although I think that will require stripping Harry of his titles and places in the line of succession with him and his children. That I think would probably be required here. But I think a new pair of eyes, and I would say a more, let's say, not aggressive in a bad way, but more assertive level, rather than letting the stories happen to the British royal family. They are anticipating them, they are on point, and they're ready to go, rather than this sort of complacency, laissez-faire attitude, which I feel like encompassed so much of the monarchy past the death of Queen Elizabeth. And so I'm hopeful this will result in, I think, some really good and positive changes. And this is not forever, but they do need somebody to address the crises right now and get them through probably about the next 5 years.
100%, because the thing is, Brittany, there was an understanding after Harry and Meghan's exit. Oh, we don't need to be so aggressive. We can sort of calm down. We can go back to what we used to be like. No, you can't. You can't.
Yeah,
and I do think William understands that. We're in a new world. King Charles might think that only the British newspapers matter. Those newspapers are dying. They're irrelevant. This is where the fight is, Brittany.
It's so true. This new level of media, I think, is so important for the royal family to, I think, acknowledge more. I've seen it more in some of the foreign royal families. Like, I was just in Denmark last week covering their New Year's events. I was, very much welcomed by the palace in the role as the editor of Royal News Network. And I see a couple of the other royal families being more open to these sort of alternative forms of media, because that is the future. I think Buckingham Palace still at this point is rather stuck in the past. I don't think they're evolving fast enough. Like, I see bits and pieces here in their social media strategy, like a video of the Duchess of Edinburgh this weekend, which I thought was actually rather good. But they need to do more of these kind of things. I think the Danes actually have probably the best social media strategy of a monarchy out there right now. And everybody else is sort of getting there. But especially the Brits just seem really, really hard, like really, really behind the times here. And so they almost have to catch up more, because Harry and Meghan, yes, they are deeply problematic, but they might be able to switch up faster and gain more traction than the British royals are right now. So I think there does need to be an adjustment in this new period, adjustment to this new media, and not relying so much on the major papers.
Indeed, there really does. And I think we're seeing it. We are seeing it. We are seeing a pushback from William and Catherine. We are seeing them taking control of their message. And what I like, And of course, we are seeing bullying as a result coming from the Daily Mail, but they are not allowing the old media, the failed media, the corrupted media like the Daily Mail take control of the agenda anymore. I think that is a good thing. Brittany, oh my God, though. Meghan Markle's face. Meghan Markle's face. I mean, a lot of this was missed in terms of the interpretation of that interview, the Gayle King interview last week, in part because Harry was just so obviously unhappy with her. But I want to talk to you about both things because I've got the video actually, which I think proves Harry simply cannot stand listening to his wife anymore. And he can't hide it sometimes.
As tensions between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry continue to grow, insiders reveal what's really forcing Meghan back to Britain after years away. Is this about security, money, reputation, or a marriage under serious strain?